You know, I had someone comment recently talking about how people's DVD collections are inherently worthless once you've bought stuff. Mostly DVD, not Blu-ray and whatnot, because people aren't selling or donating their Blu-rays or their DVDs to secondhand markets and whatnot anymore because they don't want to take them because people aren't buying it. So there's no recycling going on between companies. There's no, oh, I have a bunch of DVDs I don't want, give them to an op shop. And then the op shop is like, okay, we're going to put them out on the shelf for like 30 cents a piece. And then people buy it. And then, hey, look, rinse and repeat, whatever. It's not happening anymore. One of my commenters mentioned how they have a store in Tasmania, because hi, I'm from Australia, and they were saying how they used to go to this place all the time, and suddenly they've got nothing. They don't have physical media there, like, full stop. They just stopped doing it because they're like, apparently, like, it's just, like, not selling. And of all people, my grandpa, yeah, an old person who's, like, almost 80, said the same thing. He's the kind of person who he's happy to rely on streaming services now, because when you're old, you don't have to get up and change the disc over, alright? He has a bunch of movies he doesn't need anymore, he knows he's not going to watch. I don't know, you get to a point in life where you're like, I'm just not going to watch these movies anymore, it's not going to happen, I'm good. You're like, do you have enough life left in you to watch another Western for the 17th time? I don't know, it's up to you. Or a war film, he's more of a war person rather than a Western. That's my nan. She likes Westerns. She loves John Wayne. And so it's come to this point where he was saying the other day how he wants to donate his DVDs to, to a charity or to an op shop, whatever, and they won't take it. And that's bizarre to me. Like, I know as it is for one thing, hey, give them to me, I'll take them, even if they're shitty DVDs, or if they're just, I say shitty DVDs because I don't value DVDs as a format as much as I do Blu-rays and stuff. But they could be shitty DVDs, they could just be, like, poorly letterboxed or bad transfers, I don't know, it depends what it is, Shitty's a broader definition here. Either way, I suggested he, bring them to me. I'll take a look for them, see if I want any. At least that way he can get rid of some of them, because I just need more of them, he says, when you can't see the Blu-ray, the DVD shelf. It's a third the amount of the Blu-ray shelf. Shelf? I can't say sh anymore. Anyway. So, yeah, it's interesting, because if I ever go to a secondhand store, I always go for the Blu-rays. If there's DVDs there, I'll still look for them. I even look for the VHS sometimes. I just want to see what they got. Sometimes it's like, oh, this will be really funny. I had bought my friend for his birthday a VHS of Death in Brunswick, which is an Australian film, because we were going to his birthday, which was in Brunswick. And I was like, this is hilarious. Here's $1. I'm buying this VHS tape. I also bought him a Blu-ray of my favorite Australian film. So, he could at least watch something. Though he does still have a VHS player, which is great. So do I. And so, yeah, that was funny, that was a good little gag gift. It had nice artwork too, it was a cute little thing. And so it comes to this extra point where you're looking at it like, oh, well, I go to, like, these places and I look for Blu-rays. If they don't have any good Blu-rays, or usually it's the same films, I'm like, I won't bother. But I've still bought a couple films. I bought The Amazing Spider-Man for, like, $3. That was fun, The only issue is the store in particular, I think it was Savers, have these big stickers that when you peel them off, they're, like, have a lot of residue. It sucks. You can't get rid of that stuff. So it basically has to live in your collection as a second-hand bought thing. So obviously there's the issue of maybe they're damaged, whatever. You try your best to look at it. They don't wrap it up in plastic or anything. They usually just leave it on the shelf. So ideally you can click it open. Oh, yeah, no scratches on that. That should be okay. And then you walk away happy, ideally. And same as for DVDs. Sometimes I'll still look at DVDs and be like, oh yeah, I'll buy this DVD. I bought a film, I think it was Love Actually, I bought on Blu-ray because I found it for like, $2. I was like, I've had the DVD my whole life. We've mostly watched it on TV because it's always on TV for Christmas. I'll just buy the Blu-ray. Whether we watch it for Christmas or not, I don't care. I'll have it. And it was cheap. There was of all people, Woody Allen. There was a Woody Allen film. It was like Midnight in Paris. And I bought it for the aspect of supporting artists aside, clearly. But it was also like $3 for a Region A Blu-ray, which, as it is, should not be sold in Australian stores, because who's going to buy that and be like, wow, Woody Allen Owen Wilson, bunch of people, and then watch it and be like, oh, it doesn't work because it's a different region code. You know, that could be really annoying. So it's rare enough to find a region A copy of a film in a Australian store. But I found it, I bought it for like $2 because I'm like, Woody Allen's not getting any of this money. Fuck you, bitch. Anyway, so I still have not gotten around to watching it. But it's an amusing thing to have that happen where these DVDs have like lost value in general. And of course comes the topic of do DVDs have any actual value once you've bought them? You know, this one commenter was saying how he was the guy saying how they're worthless now. They're only good for sentimental purposes, or to give to friends because you don't want them anymore. You know, the amount of films that you consume and that you collect, and you're eventually like, I like this film, but I don't really want to watch it again. I'm going to give the Blu-ray to a friend. I personally upgrade a lot. You know, I will get 4Ks of films and then be like, hey, here's my old Blu-ray release because you don't have it at all. Here you go. Sometimes they buy it off me. I've got friends who just buy movies off me. I'm a store now. I'm not. But it's happened. Most of the time I'll give it as gifts, usually for like people's birthdays or stuff. Mostly because it's like, well, if I've already got the upgrade, I don't need it anymore. This person could use it. I'll do that. And it might seem like a cheap thing. Oh, you're just giving someone something you've already bought for yourself. It's like, yeah, true. Like I got my mate Guy for his birthday. What it came down to being 3 sets. Crimes of the Future, the Neon American release, because I had upgraded from that 4K to the second sight 4K, so I'm like, well, I can give him this 4K because he doesn't have it. It also comes with the original Crimes of the Future. At least it's better than his Madman release, even though he should not have bought the Madman release. He literally told me, don't buy the Madman release, it's like a bad transfer, and then he went ahead and bought it himself, and I'm like, why would you do that to yourself? You know, I can import for you, just wait a couple of months. Oh my god, he hasn't even watched it again. So, since cinema, so what does it matter? So I gave him that, and I gave him Spiral from the Book of Saw, because I also gave him my whole Saw collection. I had the DVD Blu-ray set that was like 8 films long, and so I just gave the whole thing to him in a fresh new case, because the case that I had got them in with was damaged, so it comes with like 3 extra slots, as well as all the DVD slots, so he can just put in Spiral, and he can put in Saw X when we get that, put it all on the one spine. You know, that's like, that was like $100 worth of a gift for him. And then as a birthday gift for me, he got me 2 movies for $20, and one of them I despised, and the other one I haven't watched yet. I imagine the other one I'll like more, but Lyle Crocodile, you want to watch Lyle, who's a crocodile? It's not great, but I have it now. But so that was a thing. For me, it's like, well, I know it's worth this amount of money. This is how much money I bought it for. This, you know, instead of me just going out and buying him a new film, hoping it comes in by his birthday, I can just give him things he doesn't have and that he might actually like, you know. So I have occasions like that. I have another friend who loves movies, but he doesn't have a Blu-ray player, so there's like no point giving him any of my films. But yeah, and also half the time when I'm getting an upgrade, I will like consider who could this old Blu-ray or old DVD go to. Can it go to my friends, who one of whom might buy it off me, one of whom who won't buy it off me, and the other one, the third option, which is always the main option I go with, my dad. I have so many movies, and a lot of the times I will get upgrades for it. Thelma and Louise I got as an upgrade from... Actually, I don't even know if I had the DVD, to be honest. I think I might have had the DVD. Got that a couple years ago. Upgraded to the Blu-ray like last year. Then, of course, Criterion's like, hey, here's the 4K. And I'm like, you fucking bastards. So I get the 4K for myself. Gorgeous film. Gorgeous transfer. Still haven't watched it, but I just eyeballed a bit of it just to make sure. And so I'm like, well, now I've got this old Blu-ray edition. What do I do with that? And I'm like, well, I'll just give it to Dad. Because he likes the film. Like, if it's films that I know that he'll like... You know, I at least will keep them around for him instead of just giving them to everyone else except for him, because I don't want this shelf to be empty when I move out. So, it'll be mostly empty. It'll be, oh my god, the amount of space, the amount of books that'll be on this shelf when I move. But, yeah, so, it's a weird time to know that in the like lowest pits of where you can find DVDs, the bargain bins, the shitty places that you don't want to get because it's usually secondhand and usually, oh, someone's touched this. You know, if you want to be that kind of prissy about it, which sometimes depends on what the product looks like. But you know, a lot of people like, especially getting DVDs for really, really cheap because, I mean, most people don't care for what the transfer looks like, what the picture quality looks like, all that kind of stuff. They just like watching the movies, and you know, they'll just buy a cheap DVD because, hey, I like this film, buy it on DVD. Like, there is more than likely someone out there who has watched Die Hard 1 billion times on one DVD and has never once upgraded to Blu-ray or 4K. Would it blow their mind to show them the 4K? To give them the 4K? Here's a brand new TV and sound system and Blu-ray player, 4K player, and 4K of Die Hard, just for them to be like, nah, I'm good, the DVD's fine. I like the bigger screen though. Like, you can imagine that person exists. Like, I had another comment talking about Groundhog Day, and they were saying how, you know, I've had the DVD of Groundhog Day for this amount of time. I don't see any reason to upgrade to the 4K of it because it doesn't seem like a film that needs a 4K. And that's also a thing. I've had that in my mind as well with buying 4Ks of like, oh, hey, I don't want to buy a 4K of this film because it's a very standard film. Like, there's no special effects, there's no crazy lighting, there's nothing this or that. If it's just two people in a room talking, walking down the street, that kind of jazz, sometimes you don't need the best picture quality available. You know, Groundhog Day, I used to be the same. I had the DVD for a long time. I wanted to get the Blu-ray, but apparently it was a bad transfer. I ended up getting the 4K because apparently it looks really good. And you know what? I watched it and it looks really goddamn good. So sometimes it doesn't hurt. But yeah, that doesn't really matter, you know. It's just a weird thing to know that this is how kind of downhill things are going, at least in that direction. So, yeah, my mindset is just keep a hold of what I have for as long as I can, hope for the best, upgrade where I see fit, and just kind of go from there. So, I like going to op shops though. The rarities, the random things you can find is really cute. So, yeah. So let's focus more on DVDs as a thing. DVDs inherently will, like DVD, Blu-ray, whatever physical format you buy, will always have some kind of value anyway. You know, it's always worth something. I have collectible steelbooks, limited edition sets, all kinds of stuff. So they all temper in value. The amount of times I have people come over, see the room for the first time, be like, oh my god, I wonder how much all this is worth. And I'm like, why the fuck does that matter? Why is it the first thing you think of? Shit, I wonder how much you could sell all this for. You could buy a house with all this fucking shit. I'm like, yeah, I could also appreciate life a bit more and not have to have a fucking mortgage. The Australian market for buying houses fucking sucks. So, you know, it's a lot easier to get movies. So fuck you to that one guy who said I should grow up, stop buying movies, and get a goddamn deposit. So I've had a comment like that in the past. Oh, wonderful. It's always funny because people are like, oh, you still live with your parents? That's gross. I'm like, yeah, so be it, you know. I still have a lot of goddamn independence and a car and a job, 2 jobs, potentially soon to be 3. So, you know, it doesn't really bother me too much. But yeah, so all of this can still be sold off. I could sell all this shit. People might still buy it. You know, Facebook Marketplace still exists. eBay still exists. I might have fans who might be like, hey, I'll buy a Blu-ray off of you. You know, I'm not going to sell. Just saying. I'm not selling. I'm just saying people still buy stuff, you know. There's still the limited edition sets and stuff like that. That stuff always sells eventually, you know. But I don't think you should immediately qualify physical media as something that's ultimately worthless. It's like, in terms of value, like outside of the sentimental stuff like this guy had mentioned. Like, yeah, it still has sentimental value because I care and respect not just the movies and TV shows themselves, but art in general, you know, movies and TV and all that as a whole, you know, as a medium, the art form that it is, I respect. So, like when I had my video saying why the DVDs still exist, and everyone say, fuck you, DVDs are good, you know, movies are good, streaming sucks, and I'm like, that's not what the video's about, but thanks for your comments. You know, gotta get more attraction. The amount of people who watch that video, probably because of how many goddamn comments. Because people misinterpreted what the title was. It's so funny when it happens. The video is not about streaming being better. I never once mentioned streaming, and even if I do, not got to anything to do with that. It's all about, why do DVDs exist when Blu-rays exist? Which is the other part. If DVDs exist and Blu-rays exist, can they all still be worth something? And, I mean, ultimately, yes. DVDs in particular can have multiple different cuts that you won't get on Blu-rays, so that'll be worth something, whether to the collector or to yourself. Collectors obviously have the market, that's the main shareholder here. I'm the collector. I will buy your copy of Lethal Weapon that has the extended cuts. I won't, but I could. But I have the Blu-rays, but I could buy them, you know. And there's a bunch of movies I've bought like that. I've bought several versions of The Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2 because it comes with different format versions of like open matte frames and longer versions of the movie and uncut versions and all that kind of stuff. So, and that's on DVD, you know, not just Blu-ray and 4K, but DVD, you know, a format I don't find value in, but it's still worth something. You know, you can still utilize it. It's not VHS where it's just like, yeah, it'll degrade over time. It's kind of a piece of shit. It's like, no, I've still got VHS as well that I've bought for collectible purposes, like Creature in the Black Lagoon, you know, so it's a weird system. It is what it is. And yeah, I don't think it's worthless, whether in terms of resale or in terms of sentimentality. I think that as an overall, if you're buying something, you have put worth into it. If you want to sell it off, you sell it off. If it's one of your favorite films and you're like, you know what, I don't think I'll ever watch it again, I've gotten what I need to out of it, then sell it off. It doesn't matter, you know? Even if you're selling it off for like a slight percentage of what you paid for it, that's fine. I had bought 3 films over the past couple of years, ended up getting upgrades, sold the old ones to my friends for like $60 because I didn't know what to sell them for. I'm like, I couldn't find my original receipts. I was like, I don't know, these are probably worth $30 to $40 each, so I'll just minus the value in half, $20 a movie. Because it's not just a plain movie, it's movie, special features, great, good packaging, I've well looked after it, you know, easy stuff. One of them came with a poster and an extra DVD, you know, so yeah, it can be amusing like that. Like the fact that I've given films to friends and I've even sold films to friends because they happily were saying, how much am I giving you for this? I'm like, I was like, you could take it for free, but if you want to give me money for it, that's also cool, you know. I don't like asking for money, even like from my filming boss. I'm like, oh hey, I haven't got my recent paycheck. Pay slip? What's going on? You know, I don't like doing that, but I'm also like, yeah, but if we're in the next week of work, because it's a weekly pay, I'm going to have to ask him. And if he's like, oh, sorry, I forgot, you know, maybe because of all the people you got to pay, you just miss out on one. It's fine. But if it's oh, sorry, we're having troubles right now. Everyone else has gotten pay delays. You know, that's why one of my friends is one of my colleagues. So I message him. I'm like, hey, have you gotten paid yet? If he's like, yeah, no, I got paid. And I'm like, okay, cool. I got to message him. Anyway, so yeah, that's just the moral of it. DVDs are not worthless in any form or capacity. Sure, I have preference of Blu-rays over DVDs, but DVDs still have a shining quality to them. You know, they have... A lot of people have said they've got like the DVD menus, they've got the body, the work, the make of them. There's so much soul and commitment put into it. And there is. You get original DVDs for like animated features like Shrek 2 and stuff like that, where you get all the characters popping up and talking to you. There's the Harry Potter films. When we had bought them initially on DVD, they came with these great slip packages and everything, but they stopped doing that after like the 3rd movie. So then like you got like lenticulars, and then they just had nothing, and it was then became combo packs of Blu-rays. And it's like, this is such a weird progression of, here's you getting DVDs for the first time with these great packages and digipacks, and they look amazing, and then here are standard basic editions with lenticulars because they're a little bit cool, and then here's a cardboard box that has a Blu-ray case inside it because we're not going to make DVDs anymore, but then they still made DVDs anyway. It's a weird situation. That's like a great case study, Harry Potter, as oh yeah, this was the evolution. But still. Anyway, let me know your thoughts down below. Do you still go to op shops? Does it look like a dying market and just reselling by itself? Do you think people in general just don't like movies anymore? They don't like buying physical? It's all on streaming now. I don't need a DVD. Shut the fuck up, Jeff. Gotta buy the fucking DVD, you coward. Even if it's a cheap shit DVD, it's better than goddamn Netflix. Anyway, enjoy next month when it's removed from the service. See you next time. Adios.